I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. The title of tonight's show is one that borders on being very realistic, because the title of the show is Facing the Truth. And that is because the aspects among the planets this week are very serious. And because this is such a serious time, it is a good time to face the truth. And so whether you have been operating under a false assumption about someone or about your own actions, or whether you had been sort of pressured into following along with something that other people wanted and that, perhaps you're not completely comfortable with, this is a really good time to face the truth and discover what you really have sort of in your secret heart. And you should be looking at what is really important to you, or who is really important to you. And the reason why is because this is such a serious time that you risk losing whoever is most important to you if you don't turn around and face the truth right now about how you really feel. And there are several good reasons why this is such a serious time right now. First of all, you could have been just kidding yourself about something. That's easy to do, particularly in our busy lives. We could sort of put up with something or kid ourselves about something or say, oh, this is okay. And yet we really, if we're kidding ourselves, then we're not really looking at how we sincerely feel about somebody or something that's very important to us. And so this is the time to do that, because there are people around right now that could be cleverly disguising their true motives about why they are with you in the first place. This could happen at work. It could also happen in your private life or your public life or in your neighborhood or in your school. When some people can be pretending based on their own greed or their own ambition or whatever they feel is the most important goal to them and how they can use you to get there. So there is that possibility. There's a possibility that that you can be very sure of your feelings right now. That's actually a very good reason why to face the truth, because there is a grand trine among the water signs right now, with planets in all three water signs. And water signs rule our feelings. So today, the moon is in Scorpio, and it is trining Mars, which is retrograde in Cancer. Well, they're stronger than they look, because Mars rules Scorpio, and it's trining the sign it rules. But the moon in Scorpio is trining the sign of Cancer, and the moon rules Cancer. Both of these rulers are trining the signs they rule and each other as well. That's pretty good. And then those planets are all trining a lot of planets in Pisces that are really backing them up. And that is why it's so important to face the truth about how you truly feel. And it can be about somebody who's in your secret heart, or somebody that you haven't told a lot of people about, or something that you really are sort of dreaming about doing or wanting to do. Pisces rules dreams. And so today, Venus is conjuncting Saturn in Pisces, and that's good because Venus rules love and peace and partnership, and Saturn rules not only the things, hard work that you have to do over a long period of time, but it is the planet of time. And so you could have had somebody that you really cared about secretly in your heart for a very long time. And with the moon in Cancer trining those planets in Pisces, the moon in Scorpio trining the planets in Pisces, and Mars in Cancer also trining them, and then they're also trining Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, in the sign, which is being conjuncted by the lucky north node of the moon, which can represent, remember that the moon rules our feelings, but the north node of the moon represents a lucky friend, generally a lucky woman friend. And so this is an absolutely wonderful time for you to be very sure of who you really care about, particularly who's deep in your heart, or someone you just admired. Maybe you haven't even met them yet, but maybe they too have been waiting in vain for you to notice them or talk to them. And so rather than keep that all locked in your heart, this is such a serious time that you have to face the truth about just how important someone or something is to you personally. And the reason why is because there can be a lot of things that if you don't recognize the truth and you don't follow up on the truth right now, you risk losing the person or the thing that you love the most. You could lose that now. And simply because if you know what your true feelings are and you're not following them, well, that's why you might lose them. You might lose whoever those feelings or whatever those feelings are about. You would just lose your chance. Because you have to face the truth, and then you have to be ready to step forward and be true to that. It's a way of saying that you need to be true to your heart. And you can do it because there's all these planets in the water signs that rule our feelings. But on the other hand, there can be people that are really determined to thwart your feelings and to prevent you from doing the thing that you'd love to do, or they'd like to prevent you from being with the person that you care about the most. And the reason why is that there are 4 planets that are in a harsh T-cross among the fixed signs, and fixed signs don't budge. And so, they all think they're right at the same time. And so that same moon that's in Scorpio right now is being opposed by Uranus, which is retrograde in Taurus. And these are the 2 fixed financial signs. And so there can be a problem about money. It can be an old problem about money with somebody that you used to care about, but that they're not important to you anymore, but the money's pretty important to them, something like that. So that could be a problem that could be stopping you from actually facing the truth. Because sooner or later you have to cut off those ties and simply concentrate on the one that is the most important to you, or you won't be happy. And also you risk losing that person if you're continually fighting with other people, particularly about money, or investments, or expensive things. Those are all the things Taurus rules. And then, on top of that, these 2 planets in the fixed financial signs are all being squared by 2 other very strong planets. And they are the Sun today, which is in Aquarius, and it is conjuncting, it just entered Aquarius, it is conjuncting Pluto in Aquarius. Okay, well that's a 1-2 punch, because the conjunction means that both planets are so close in their orbits in alignment that nothing can break up their power. And Aquarius rules the future, and Pluto rules people in upper management or people who want to be head of something, and they have their eyes on the future. And they may wonder where the money is coming from, but they are totally devoted to whatever they want to do in the future. And since both of these planets are in Aquarius and they are being trine by Jupiter in Gemini, they have backup. It seems to me that people who are not willing to face the truth right now, but are sort of just going along with things, they could be denying what is really in their heart. And when push comes to shove, it's who or what you love that really gives your life meaning. It really does. We were not meant to live in little cubicles and be isolated from others. We're meant to love and share and be with the people that we care about. Anybody who lost their home in all the fires in California can tell you the same thing. It's the love that counts. They can rebuild. But if you face the truth about what you really care about, you have that precious love for someone or something, and if it's in your heart, don't deny it, because nothing can replace it. Only you might lose it if you do deny it. So just think about that. Because you can be feeling right about this time that perhaps somebody isn't right for you. And the reason why is there are 3 retrograde planets, and they're all in a row. Uranus is retrograde in Taurus, Jupiter is retrograde in Gemini, and Mars is retrograde in Cancer. And so when planets go retrograde, they're going back on their orbits. They're going back and picking up and looking for information they missed the first time around. And when they get it, they'll turn around and they'll go direct and come forward, and we'll learn more about something. Well, so since there are 3 retrograde planets in 1/4 of your chart, because 3 houses or 3 signs are 1/4 of your chart, you may be coming to a point where you realize that someone isn't right for you, or that a situation you're in isn't really the right thing for you. And you may be going back now, just like a retrograde planet would go back, and really thinking, well, how does this compare? How who I'm with or what I'm doing compare to how I really feel in my heart, or who I really want to be with, or what I really want to do? And this is the right time to be asking those questions, because can you understand how serious this time is? It really is. And you would be in good touch with your feelings, because the 5 planets in the Grand Trine in water signs are helping you understand your feelings perhaps better than you've ever understood them before. So this is the right time to face the truth. But you have to look at other people pretty realistically, and then you have to quit kidding yourself and realize, maybe I'm not, not with the right person, or not in the right job, or I don't have goals that really fulfill me, or something like that. Going back and rechecking things and admitting the truth, or facing the truth, is what it's all about right now. That's why it's so serious. Okay, what does it mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries. Well, Aries, for you can be somewhat thwarted, or not exactly confused, but stymied right now. You can be sort of stymied, and yours is a dynamic fire sign, but your ruler, Mars, is in Cancer. It's weakened because it's retrograde, and it's squaring your sun. And so, Aries, you can be having a real hard time maybe making up your mind about something, or it can be that you wanted to do something all your own way, and either the conditions around you, or some people, or co-workers, or a financial situation, something else can be limiting your ambition to go forward right now. Maybe you have all the ambition, but other people don't. Or else they're not all agreeing with you right now. Or else it really can be, Aries, that they are sort of waking up and facing the truth and realizing that the way you want to go is not the way they want to go. And so there can be sort of an offset there. And I think that this is just a time when you should try, Aries, instead to withdraw a little bit and think a little bit more about how you can achieve your own goals by yourself. Now, instead of in partnership with somebody else, or instead of waiting for somebody else to do it your way, I wouldn't do that right now, Aries. And the reason why is you do have a second solar eclipse coming up in your sign in March. It's at the end of March, but it's there. And that's not that far away. And you have to concentrate sort of with, tune everything else out, Aries, and really concentrate on where you want to be in 2 months by the solar eclipse, and what you want to be doing. Because if something didn't work last year, you could get a second chance to make it work this year, but you would not be able to do it the same way. Because the other planets have moved around. They're not all in the same positions that they were last year. And people can be changing their minds, realizing that some things are just not right for them. And this is a very serious time. So you should concentrate on yourself, Aries, and ask yourself where you want to be. And it doesn't matter how many different things other people want. It's where you want to go. You're the one that's having the solar eclipse. A solar eclipse is always a new beginning. But it's a new beginning for you, Aries. It may not be for a lot of other people, but it is for you. And that's what you should be concentrating on. And my advice to you is to leave the past behind. And the reason why is that nobody can go back in time. Time moves forward, not backward. And so you would be defeating your own self and your own chances for success if you were trying to live in the past. So try not to do that, particularly since this is another solar eclipse in your sign, and it's just a golden opportunity for you to go forward, as long as you really think about what you want to do and you concentrate on that and nothing else. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, remember I said Uranus is retrograde in your sign, indicating that some people can be going back now, and that can include you, Taurus, and thinking about maybe something isn't right. Or you don't feel right about a relationship or a job that you have, or an area where you live, or something going on among the family. Maybe it just doesn't really quite feel right to you right now. But I would think that it would be a financial matter that you're sort of wondering about, Taurus. And I would say you certainly, this is the right time for you to be looking at the money a lot more closely, because the moon is in Scorpio today, opposing that Uranus in your sign, and Uranus is retrograde or a little bit weaker. And the moon is involved in a grand trine with other planets in the water signs. People really are, this is a serious time because people really are in touch with their feelings. And you may be too, Taurus. But I also think you have a financial problem that you need to consider a little bit more. And that financial problem hinges on what your future plans are. And the reason why is that the Sun and Pluto are conjuncting each other, a powerhouse duo of planets right now, because it's a Sun, and they are squaring your Sun. Now the Sun will eventually move on, but Pluto won't. Pluto's going to be squaring your Sun for years and years and years. And so this is a very good time for you to face the honest truth about your own energy level, about your own ambition, about where the money is that you have today, and how to preserve it for tomorrow, and what you want to do and where you want to go. I think that a financial matter is not going to work out the way you wanted it to, Taurus. Remember, the moon is opposing Uranus, and the Sun and Pluto are squaring your Sun. And this could have something to do with a job. And that is because people are revising their budgets this year. And so as they revise their budgets, there's going to be cutbacks or layoffs or downsizing of some sort. And part of the reason for that is not just the condition of, say, the company that you work for, but it's the goals that the company has going forward. See, Sun and Pluto in Aquarius, which rules the future and squares your Sun. Some people are changing the goals of your employer. And as those goals change, you may not fit quite as well as you used to in the organization. I mean, I'm not sure about that, but there is that possibility. And so, Taurus, you need to really take a look at the money you have. I wouldn't go out looking for more at the moment. I would just try to look at what you've got, or the investments that you've got, and try to ask yourself, how could you survive on those going forward? And I mean just you survive, Taurus, not anybody else. And just try to think, you could say, what does the future hold for me? Well, I think whatever the future holds for you, Taurus, it's going to be a challenge for years to come. Okay, so I wouldn't count on that, Taurus. I think that what you ought to do is look at what you've got and handle what you've got in the best way that you can to keep it. And so the concentration should be on that, your financial future. But only what you can afford, not what you can get from anybody else, because that would be subject to change, continual change, as companies shift their business plans in order to move forward in the future. That is going to change the labor force. Even this year, it'll change the labor force, because there are eclipses in Virgo, which trine your Sun, but Virgo rules jobs. And so you need to concentrate on what you've got now and how you can exist on it going forward without any other plans. Just make the best of what you've got right now, Taurus, and realize that you should set up something that you can survive on by yourself for years to come. That would be the safest thing to do with your money. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, Jupiter is retrograde in your sign right now, but it is being tried beautifully by the Sun and Pluto, which are strongly conjuncting each other in Aquarius, the sign of the future, and they're both direct. And so even though Jupiter is retrograde, it still is being backed up by these two very powerful planets. And that means that there could be somebody around in upper management or in a powerful position, or even just head of their own company, even if it's a little company, if they're head of it, you know, they're the boss, that could really do you a favor, Gemini. Or it can be that even if you did not have the ambition or the idea to move forward in a new direction, even one that you really like, but maybe you just hadn't been thinking about that anymore, or at least not right now, somebody else could come along and offer you something that's a little too good to refuse, Gemini. So I suggest you say yes. And it wouldn't have to be a big deal, but it could turn out to be a big deal down the road. It would turn out to be a benefit to you anyway, Gemini, even if it was something that was just a little part-time thing. Might start small, but it is not aspected to end small. Pluto's going to be trining your Sun for years to come. Same with Libra. And so people with future ideas for the future, they're looking for people that are adaptable and flexible, and that's a trait of a Gemini. You know, Geminis, even if somebody wants you to do something and you've never done it before, you could do a real fast brush-up course and learn how to do it real quick. Geminis are good at that. So anyway, Gemini, if you get an intriguing offer, I suggest you just say yes. It probably would only start out small, so it wouldn't interrupt your life too much. But on the other hand, should it be successful, then you just are going to go up along with it. And to places unknown. You don't know what the future holds, but it would look pretty good. Even if you started something small right now, it is aspected for success, eventual success, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Cancer. This is a time, Cancer, when you're stronger than people think. And the reason why, it's not just that Mars, a planet of ambition and strength and aggression, is in your sign. It's a little bit weaker because it's retrograde, but it is there, and it can be sort of lighting a little fire under you, Cancer, wanting you to sort of get going. Cancers are not the fastest movers in the world. They just go along at their own pace. They're pretty mild-mannered too. But Mars is not only in your sign, maybe reminding you that you need to hurry up on something a little bit. I think that's true, Cancer. But the moon in Scorpio is trining that Mars right now. And both of these planets are stronger than they appear at first. And the reason why is that the moon is your ruler. It's in Scorpio trining your Sun. And Mars is the ruler of Scorpio. And it's in your sign trining Scorpio. These two rulers are trining what they rule. And they're just so perfectly placed to go ahead and follow up on facing the truth about their true feelings. And that means that you are too, Cancer. That's what I mean by you're stronger than you look at this time. But this is a serious time when people have to look at what's in their heart, or what's hidden behind the scenes, or somebody that they really care about, even if they've never met them, they've just really cared about them. What are you doing about that, Cancer? Because this is such a serious time right now that if you are facing the truth about who or what you really love, that is behind the scenes, because Venus and Saturn are conjuncting. They're very strong because they're in a conjunction, and Saturn rules time. You could have had your eye on somebody or on some job that or a move that you wanted to make. You could have been thinking about that for a long time, Cancer. And those two planets are in Pisces are trining your sun, so you would have been thinking about it behind the scenes. Not too many people would have known what you were thinking. And then Neptune, the ruler of the sign, which has been trining your sun for 12 years, is direct, and it too is trining your sun. It's moving up to the 29th degree of fate, Cancer. You are a lot closer to either having something work for you that you've been wishing about and dreaming about for years, or else you're going to lose it, one or the other. And that's because Neptune's moving on. Now, it'll go into Aries, which it's not happy in, but it'll come back in Pisces later on in this year, but not really to stay. It's going to be going forward into Aries now. It's already been trining your sun for 12 years. And so, whatever has been in your secret heart, or whoever has been in your secret heart for a long time, Cancer, you have to face the truth about that. You have to ask yourself if whoever that is really is the right choice for you. I mean, if you've met them and you know them, you can say, I don't know, are they the right one or not? Mars is retrograde. You would want to go back and look at that again. And at the same time, since all the planets in Pisces are direct and supporting your sign, plus your own ruler, the moon in Scorpio, is supporting your sign, this is the right time for you to face the truth, Cancer, about someone that you care about deeply in your secret heart, or something that you've always dreamed about doing. You better face the truth, because if you don't, and also if you've been making a mistake and evading the truth or not taking the time to face it, if you just keep doing that, you risk losing the thing or the person that is most precious to you. There's a lot on the line, Cancer. Not just how you feel, but what you do about it. And if you don't follow your heart and really sort of make a dream come true, you'll lose it. Because Neptune's going to leave. And sure, it'll come back a little bit this year, but this is such a serious time because of the way the planets are lining up, and of how sure we can all be of our feelings. That if people don't act on their feelings in a positive way about who or what they truly love in their secret heart, then they're going to lose it. So think about it, Cancer. Just, with 5 planets, with all these planets in water signs in a grand trine, just sit down and say, who do I really care about? Would I want to lose them? And there could be some people that you wouldn't mind losing. But there's probably somebody that you've thought about for a long time that you really wouldn't want to miss them. You wouldn't want to lose them. And that's the person you've got to do something about. Or if it's a special goal of yours, that's the goal you've got to concentrate on now. But you have to be honest enough to face the truth in your own heart and do something about it, or lose it. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, yours is a fixed sign. And remember, I said that one of the big reasons why we need to face the truth right now is because there are 4 planets in a harsh T-cross among the fixed signs, and yours is a fixed sign. And so, Leo, for years to come, you will have Pluto in Aquarius opposing your sun sign, and an opposition represents separation. But there's more than that going on in Aquarius right now. In fact, it's like you're facing a double whammy, Leo, because the sun, your own ruler, is opposing your sun sign, but it is conjuncting that Pluto in Aquarius right now. And Uranus in Taurus is squaring your sign. So you've got these three strong planets, the Sun and Pluto in Aquarius, and Uranus in Taurus, and they're all in harsh aspect to your sun sign. There's nothing in your sun sign right now. And so, Leo, you're facing a financial challenge somewhere in your life. That's Uranus and Taurus squaring your sun. And then you're facing, it's more than a challenge. It really is a separation from somebody or something. And it might be your employer, for instance, who has their eyes on the future. They could be very high up in management, and they're going to go for their future plans. Even if the plans have changed recently due to current economic conditions, what if plans have had to be downsized and budgets have had to be cut? Well, they're not taking their eye off the ball. They may have to just work a little harder or change in some way. But the point is, they're going to go into the future, and they'll probably end up making some sort of alliance with other people that are pretty powerful as well, but not you. And the reason why is that the Sun and Pluto are both opposing your sun sign, and you have money problems of your own right now, and it could be in your investments. Maybe some of the value in investments have been falling, or it could just be that, you know, the holiday season might have been pretty expensive, and now the bills are due. So if you're in any kind of debt, that's a bigger problem than anything else you've got, Leo, and you really need to get out of debt if you can. Now, your employer is thinking the same thing. Everywhere people are thinking of that with the world swimming in debt, something's got to be done about it. And Scorpio rules debt. And the moon's in Scorpio right now, being tried by a lot of other planets in the water signs. For sure, even though Scorpio is a fixed sign, they're determined to get out of debt, even if they have to cut their expenses to the bone to do it. Well, that's a good idea. You should consider that, Leo, because your sign rules extravagance, and it might have been extravagance that sort of, you know, raised the bills or the debt in your life, and you've got to cut back on that right now. And if you choose not to face the truth about that, you would be facing greater problems as the year continued, because Pluto isn't going to stop opposing your sun for years, and Uranus is still, except for a brief time when it goes into Gemini this summer, Uranus is going to still be squaring your sun for another year, because it'll go back in Taurus. And so you've got to cut down on the money and the expenses somewhere, Leo, and ask in your secret heart, try to ask yourself, you know, what can I afford and what can I let go of? Because if you have to let go of a few things, that doesn't mean forever. Maybe something that you're doing costs a lot of money, and, you know, maybe you'd have to cut that down a whole lot right now, but maybe later on that could come back. And the solar eclipse in Aries this spring is going to trine your sun. It would give you a new chance to go in another direction. And you should take it, Leo. You should take it. You're in some sort of either a financial rut or sort of living in the past, and you cannot afford to do that. And you have to broaden your outlook and go in a new direction. And that solar eclipse in Aries is going to help you this spring, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time, Virgo, when all of us have to consider what is really in our heart, who we really love, what we would love to do, or what we wish we were doing, and also, you know, how we want the future to look for us. And everyone has to consider their future now, because both the Sun and Pluto are in Aquarius. And Virgo, they are 150 degrees away from your Sun or in conjunct. They are very powerful planets, particularly since they're both conjuncting, and they're being trined by Jupiter in Gemini. but they may not have a whole lot of effect on you at the moment, Virgo, because an inconjunction, it's almost nothing, because it would indicate things are stalled, or things are just sort of going along, but they aren't getting better. Maybe they're not getting worse. They're not really doing anything. But that is not the way your life is actually going to be this year, Virgo, because there's 2 eclipses in your sign and another new moon in your sign. The first eclipse is in March. That's just coming right up, and it's a total lunar eclipse. And so your relationships are going to change this spring, Virgo, in one way or another. It could be a relationship at work, it could be in your private life, it could be in your neighborhood, but they are aspected to there's something that's aspected to change, because it's a total lunar eclipse. And the moon rules women, and it rules our feelings. So things can change there. And so that is why, Virgo, that's just a real good example of why it's so important for everybody in this very serious time to look inward to your secret heart and ask yourself who and what you really love, and admit it, and go for that and nothing else. And everybody should be doing that, particularly right now, because there's good reasons why other people would want to dominate, or want to sort of tell others what to do, or are very, very greedy and want more money, or they want to be sharing in the bright lights and the publicity of someone else's work as if they did it, when all they're doing is basking in someone else's glory and taking credit for nothing. And so, Virgo, you have to ask yourself really honestly what's in your heart. You know, don't come up with a million reasons that add up to here that are negative, and another million reasons that add up to here that are positive, and try to reconcile both of them, you know, the either or type of thing. Just ask yourself who you love, and or what you love doing. And if you committed yourself to that and nothing else for the whole rest of the year, you would end up very happy this year. So would anybody else who was going to be really honest with what was in their heart. This is such a serious time. I think this is such a serious time because there are what they call existential threats around a lot of people everywhere in the world right now. I mean, it could be the weather, but it could also be the economic climate. Not the real climate, but what employers are doing throughout the world, or how the world trade is going on, or the wars that could break out. All of these really big things are happening seriously right now, and we have to ask ourselves, okay, well, what's most important to me? And you can do that, Virgo. Just sit down and do it. And you know, don't try to figure it all out or get all the answers. Just ask your heart, well, who do you really love? And what would you really love doing? And looking over your life, what has really, really meant a lot to you? Or who has meant a lot to you? You know, love is not something you can put in a bottle. It's in our hearts. And so you don't have to go any further than to look in your heart, Virgo. And whatever that love is, this is the time to face the truth, admit it, and make sure you don't lose it. Because people who are not willing to face the truth about what's in their heart right now, they could lose it. This is such a serious time, and there's enough threatening things going on that you could lose it. And you would really regret it. So just ask yourself, even in your life, no matter how old or young you are, who or what has really mattered to you? And if you have been not paying attention to that, why don't you make up for lost time? do something about it. Because just about anything can disappear, but not love. Love is more precious than that. All right. What does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when, Libra, believe it or not, you could be just sitting out somewhere and bump into somebody pretty important that would begin to strike up a conversation with you and like you a whole bunch. That could happen, Libra. And the reason why is that yours is an air sign. And there's some real strong planets in air signs right now. The two that are the strongest are the fact that the Sun and Pluto are both in Aquarius, and they are conjuncting each other and trining your Sun. And to back that up, Jupiter, even though it's retrograde in Gemini, is also trining your Sun. And if you want to dig a little deeper, your ruler, Venus, is being beautifully conjuncted by Saturn in Pisces and trined by all the other planets that are in the water signs right now. You know, Libra, this is not a time to hide your light under a bushel. I'm sorry. You need to look your best. You need to get out in the public eye. You need to mix and mingle. You never know who you're going to run into. But you are somewhat aspected to run into somebody pretty important, because Pluto rules people in upper management, or even just somebody that owns their own company. And the Sun is conjuncting that Pluto and trining your Sun, and Jupiter is trining your Sun. You could walk into something that actually would be quite easy on you, Libra. And the reason why is that Jupiter is in Gemini. Even though it's retrograde, Gemini rules part-time things or temporary things. Somebody could want to engage you or work with you, even if it's on a part-time effort, and it would be much to your benefit to say yes on that, Libra. There's a possibility, even if it was something that was just going to be done for a day or two, and you think, oh, okay, I'll say yes, I'll go do that. No, it would work out. If it worked out, it's going to lead to more and more and more and more. Pluto is a very slow planet, but a very powerful one. And people don't think it's powerful because it just moves so slowly. But, you know, when a person is the head of something and they have a lot of responsibility and they're making a lot of decisions that will affect a lot of people, they do have to sort of slowly consider that, think that over. And you're aspected to meet somebody like that who is, you know, they have the vision to think way ahead of time. And they could even be a little bit of an unusual person, but they know where they want to go. And if they're interested in having you join them, you should say yes. Because you could say, well, I don't think I have experience in that field. And they'll say, well, it's going to be new. Nobody else has any experience in it either. Come on, join us and we'll work on this together. That's what it'll be like, Libra. So I think that this could happen any time this year, but particularly after July 7th when Uranus goes into Gemini. It won't stay there this year, but it will. The minute it goes in, it'll trine your Sun. You're going to have a better summer than you think, Libra. And something's going to happen right out of the blue and be absolutely perfect. I don't know how long it's going to last, but it's going to be perfect. So this is a very good time for you to decide. In fact, this is just a very serious time for all of us to decide, you know, what makes me happy, who do I really care about, what do I care about doing, things like that. It isn't selfish to ask yourself honestly how you feel. In fact, I think it's unselfish, because as long as you know who and what you truly care about, you can be true to that. And they can be true back. And that could be an association that lasts a lifetime. All because you're being honest. And that's what That's why this is such a serious time. We have to be honest about our feelings right now, because there's a whole lot of other people that want to take advantage of people, or are greedy, or want to share the limelight for things they didn't do, or just want to use others. So you have to know where you stand. You have to be honest with yourself. And that way you'll always be in control of yourself. And that's one of the secrets of success. To be pretty sure about who you are. And true to yourself. And to those you truly love. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time, Scorpio, when I think you're going to sort of see the light. And the reason why is because you have a light in your sign. It's the moon. And the moon is very powerful in your sign because it's trining the sign. It rules Cancer, where Mars is. And Mars is retrograde. But Mars is one of your two rulers, and it's trining your sign. So these planets are very well placed. And yours is also a fixed sign. And so you are facing some challenges from other people who may want to usurp your power. That would be Leo, the sign of Leo squaring the moon in your sign. And or it can be that there are people around that want a little bit of money from you, Scorpio. That is Uranus and Taurus opposing that moon in your sign. And then there are people that are sort of forward thinkers, and they're thinking about the future, and they're moving ahead as fast as they can, and they're looking for good talent. But that's because the Sun and Pluto, your other ruler, are in Aquarius, the sign of the future, and they're backed up. They're being tried by Jupiter and Gemini, and they square your Sun as well. So, since you do have the moon in your sign, and the moon rules feelings, and it rules women, this is a very good time, Scorpio, for you to really be quiet and very honest about who is in your secret heart. Because your secret heart would be where you keep things that are really precious to you. So that would be people that you love that are very precious to you, or it can be an occupation or even a hobby that you really like that is precious to you. Okay, you know how you feel about those because you keep that inside of you. And if you have not actually been acknowledging that too much in the real world, Scorpio, you're about to lose someone or something real important. And that is because right now, if you're real honest and you admit who you truly care about, you know, you could be looking at people that you think are, since the planets are retrograde, they're not quite right for you. But you could also be looking at somebody that in your heart you know they're just perfect for you. And it's time to admit it. And the reason why is because this is a time when if you're not, Scorpio is a possessive sign. So is Taurus. They're the two most possessive signs, and they're the financial signs as well. But if you've in your heart have been caring about somebody, even to the point of, you know, really worrying about them and caring about them and thinking about them, but never talking to them, just watching over them like a little ministering angel, well, that's great, but that's not real life, Scorpio. In real life, we're with others. We're with people. We interact. And the question you need to ask yourself very seriously right now is what is in your secret heart? Because it would have been there quite a long time. Okay, so it's not anybody new, and it's not anything new. It is it's because Venus and Saturn are conjuncting each other in Pisces, and they're trining your Sun, and Neptune is in Pisces, and it is trining your Sun. It's the ruler. It's been trining your Sun for 12 years. And now the lucky north node of the moon is in Pisces, conjuncting that Neptune and trining your Sun. In the background of your life somewhere, Scorpio, is somebody who really cares about you. And they just don't know if you care about them. And if you do, you need to be honest and show them. And meet with them. Let them know. Valentine's Day is coming. I wouldn't wait that long. Because, Scorpio, this is such a serious time. You got to figure it out. You got to figure out who it is that you would go the distance for. Right or wrong, no matter what happens, who's worth it to you? And who do you care about? And another way of looking at it, Scorpio, is how would you feel if you lost them? If they walked out, even if you've never met this person, but you've always admired them, if they walked out or passed away suddenly or got hit by a car, and you never said a word about how much you cared, or you never just stepped forward and said, hey, let's be together, you'd be the loser, Scorpio. And it would be a little bit, would have the same somewhat deadly effect on you as losing somebody in life that you care about. And death is ruled by your sign. And death is the one thing that a Scorpio never can get over. Every sun sign has something that rules it. And that's the thing they can't get over. And since death is ruled by your sign, Scorpio, you're never able to get over the loss of a dear loved one. It always, the pain's always there. And Scorpios learn to live with it, but and they don't talk about it much. But should you lose, if you refuse to admit who or what you really love in your heart right now, if you're not willing to face the truth and not willing to do something about it, you will lose them. Because they may have been waiting in vain for you to do something. And if you're just messing around doing whatever you want and thinking I'll get to that later, it's going to be too late, Scorpio. So you have to ask yourself, if you want to make a dream come true, the job's yours. Nobody can do it for you. You can't hire it done. You're going to have to speak up and do something yourself. And it's got to be convincing. Don't act like it's casual. If it's not casual to you, then be honest about it and let somebody else know. And, people who tell each other the truth, that's a bond that can last a lifetime, as long as you're willing to face the truth. So I wish you the best of luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, yours is a fire sign, and so I hope that you're looking forward to this spring, the end of March, when there's a solar eclipse in your sign, and I hope you're getting ready for that right now. And since this is such a serious time, part of your preparation would have to be that you too need to ask yourself, okay, of the things that I'm thinking about, or the people that I really care about in my life, who is most precious to me? Who do I really love? What is my fondest dream? And it's really good not only to ask yourself what your fondest dream is, but then ask yourself if you can afford it. In other words, try to be a little practical. But at the same time, Sagittarius, under the solar eclipse in Aries that's coming up this spring, as long as you were honest with yourself about whatever the number one person or thing is most important to you, if you got that nailed down, Sagittarius, and you decide, okay, I'm going to forget everything else and I'm going for that, it looks to me like you're going to succeed. Even if you have to go real slow, even if there are false starts, The whole year is going to be full of false starts anyway. You couldn't get away from it if you tried. But that doesn't mean that people can't make progress. They can. And you're expected for some rather amazing success by your birthday. And I think you're the one that's going to be amazed. So Sagittarius, you have to be real honest. If you're just spinning your wheels or wasting your time on something, you got to stop that right away. Because it's not just that time is money. The time is it's gone once you use it. And you have to make sure that you're using your time in a way that really makes you happy and that it does good for others. And as Sagittarians are pretty high-minded people. The rule's religion and philosophy. And they're well-informed. And so there may be a greater need for your talents this year, Sagittarius. And you should stop and ask yourself, okay, well, what's the most important thing to me, and how could I use it in a way that benefits others? And why don't you go for that this year, Sagittarius? If it's that important to you in your secret heart, how about making it true for everyone? You could do it. You're smart enough to do it. So I hope you try. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn. This is a time, Capricorn, when you can be sort of glad the holidays are over, but on the other hand, you may be sort of playing catch up on your plans that might have been interrupted in one way or another over the holidays. That could happen to anybody. And so this is a time, Capricorn, when you might want to sit down and face the truth about what is really important to you. And Capricorns are very thrifty. So are Cancers. In fact, thrift is ruled by Cancer. But Capricorn, your sign is ruled by Saturn. Saturn, your own ruler, is sextiling your sun, and so is Venus, and so is Neptune, and so is the lucky north node of the moon. That's a lot backing you up right now, Capricorn. And Uranus and Taurus is trining your sun. And so, despite what everybody else is sort of doing or thinking or planning or whatever, as this year begins, I think that you need to sit down and just ask yourself, well, what do I feel like now? You know, and Capricorns are so practical that they generally don't push themselves too far. You know, they try to stay within the lines, or they stay within the job expectations, something like that. Or they like to take one step and accomplish it, and then take the next step and accomplish it. You know, an Aries would just rush into something. Not a Capricorn. They plan what they want to do, and they do it sort of carefully. And on top of that, they look it all over. They check it again and again and again. And you know, Capricorn, maybe that's enough for you this year. Maybe if you just sit down and say, what is the one thing that I really want to do this year? You know, not 5 or 10 different things, just one thing. And try that one thing out. And if it's experimental, or you don't know how it's going to end up, or it's just a good idea that you have that you sort of like to develop a little bit more, that's enough. If you don't know where it's going, you may as well just take it one step at a time as you develop your talent or your ideas this year. Now, right ahead of your sign are two fantastic planets, the Sun and Pluto in Aquarius, which are sextiling your Sun. Well, all the planets in Pisces are also sextiling your Sun. You are about to, and they're ahead of your Sun sign, okay? Aquarius and Pisces are ahead of Capricorn. And so Capricorn, you can step into quite a few illuminating things this year, and I'm saying don't aim that high. Just try one step at a time. You might be shocked at how far you get this year. But I would say don't alter your speed. Don't try to speed up. Just do one step at a time and see where it goes. And that should be enough this year. There are no new moons in your sign this year, Capricorn. That's okay. All the eclipses in Virgo are trining your sun. Uranus in Taurus except for a brief time when it goes into Gemini. It's going to be trining your sun for another year. There may not be much pressure on you this year, Capricorn, except what you make for yourself. And I'm suggesting that you slow down and you don't make a lot of pressure. Just one step at a time. Journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. You may not know how far your good ideas are going to go, but it doesn't matter right now. What matters is that you just do the one step at a time thing all year. And I think that you'll be rather satisfied with wherever you are by the end of the year. The word that comes to mind is pleased. You will be pleased by your birthday. So don't worry. You don't have to speed, Capricorn. Just keep going. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius. This is a time, Aquarius, when you're sort of in the driver's seat, Aquarius. That's pretty nice. That doesn't happen that often. And there are still planets in fixed signs that are squaring your sun sign, and they are planets that are in the fixed financial signs. So you do have some financial problems, or it can be that whatever you're wanting to do or whatever you're thinking of doing that has growth potential this year, which I think it would, you're probably wondering, well, who's going to pay for it all? And you probably do not have the answer to that right now, Aquarius. And the reason why is the moon in Scorpio is squaring your sun right now, and Uranus, your own ruler, is in Taurus, also squaring your sun, and Uranus is retrograde. So there can be sudden fluctuations in your investments. That's what Taurus rules. And so I think that, you should try to get yourself as financially stable and secure as you can, Aquarius, and leave it at that. In other words, financially, I wouldn't take a big jump this year. Okay? And the reason why is your ruler, Uranus, is still going to be in Taurus, except for a brief time in Gemini. Still going to be there squaring your sun. And Pluto is in your sun sign, and it is going to help you define your own power. And power comes from the truth. That's what Pluto really rules. It rules deep psychological transformation and change. And it's the kind where you have to dig deep for the real truth. And this is a serious time. Well, that's what we all have to do. This show is called Facing the Truth. That's what we have to do. And so I wouldn't rush into anything right now, Aquarius. But you know what? If you have an idea for a solid step, which is more of what you would call an organizational step, or something where you're setting something up, and you need to do that thoroughly, I would do that. And if it takes some sort of legal work to do that, I'd just go slow and do that too. And my advice to you, Aquarius, is read everything before you sign it. And if somebody is saying to you, here, sign this, just say, oh, I'm sorry, I've got to read it first. And then go slow. Whatever you sign, darn it, you don't know who wrote it or what they really said unless you read it. And then just sit back or excuse yourself for a minute and think about it. But don't sign anything until you do that, Aquarius. Because I think that you're on a road where you are going to come into your own power. And the problem with that is there could be a lot of people that want to go along for the ride. Or they want to ride your coattails. Or they just want to get money out of you. Or fame or fortune or whatever. And that's what you need to guard against. Because, their idea is that you are supposed to support them. Whereas your idea is that you want something to move forward, and you'll work at how to afford it. But not the freeloaders. You can't afford everything, Aquarius. Particularly not the freeloaders this year. So just be real careful what you're going to do. You're sort of in the power seat right now. The world is so much in debt. The economies are shaky all over the world, and including here. And so people are actually looking for whatever seems to be really truthful and trustworthy. And you could stand out. by the end of the year. But I would suggest that you have to do it on your own terms, Aquarius, not someone else's. Because, you know, if you're going to trust anybody, trust yourself first. And for this year, leave it at that. Nobody else. At least in business. So try to be very careful what you do. And when somebody's trying to talk you into a good thing or a good deal, let it go in one ear and out the other, Aquarius. This is not the year for you to listen to stuff like that. It's not going to work out too well. So do not let temptation get you in trouble. Just stick to what you feel in your heart as you face the truth, who or what is right for you. And I think you can't miss. But you got to be honest. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Pisces. This is a time, Pisces, when, Pisces, you are very close to getting what you want. And I think you're absolutely centered on how you really feel about someone or something. And you're sure about it, which is good. Because the other side of the coin is, particularly since the North Node has come in and is conjuncting your own ruler, Neptune, right now, and they're all backed up by a grand trine in the water signs right now, whoever you are sure about, Pisces, they are just as sure about you. And maybe neither one of you said a word. What a waste of time that was. Because life is precious. And nobody's got a handle on time. You don't know how much time you've got left, neither does anybody else. And so, there's 5 planets and water signs trining each other, and your sign is loaded with good planets, particularly with Venus conjuncting Saturn. Someone or something that you have always loved, it's finally here, Pisces. These 2 planets are conjuncting each other. And your ruler is direct. They're all direct planets. And it could involve a move that you should make. And it also could involve money that's coming in one way or another. It might be that you sell something, Pisces, and you get the money from that. And that would be good. And so if you have bills, that would help you pay off your bills, because everybody's got to get out of debt. But if you don't have any debt, and I think there's still some money coming to you in one way or another. The moon in Scorpio is trining your sun, where all these planets are. And Mars in Cancer would indicate, since it's retrograde, that there may have been a move that you should have made before, but you really need to make it now. And also, you are a person, Pisces, who's going to be able, just if you're sitting reading your morning paper and having a cup of coffee, you would also just be able to put that paper down and say, well, who do I really love? Who do I really care about? What would I rather be doing? And the truth will be right there, right in front of you. And it may be something that you held in your secret heart for a long time, perhaps even without truly admitting how important it is to you. Or if it's a person, maybe that person, you know, if you lost that person, it would destroy you too, Pisces. You know, we all need each other in one way or another, whether we admit it or not. And this is a very good time to be in touch with your feelings. And wherever you are, even standing at a bus stop waiting for a bus, that answer could just come to you right out of the blue. Oh, the one I really love is, or what I really want to do is, and you sure are, you've already got the answer, Pisces. I know you do. And if you haven't done anything about it, you're about to become one of the biggest losers in the world if you don't do something about it. Because these planets, you know, the planets are always moving, Pisces. Okay, things change. And you are under wonderful aspects to follow your heart, face the truth. This is a very serious time, and I think you know how serious it is. But the funny thing is, I think the way the planets are set up so favorably for you, that the answers are just so simple. You're going to wonder why you didn't just realize it years ago. The answers are just simple. You know who you care about. You know what you'd rather be doing. Okay, Pisces? Just being sure of yourself is more than half the battle. There's a whole lot of people that aren't sure of what they're doing. But this is a time when you can be very sure, in touch with your feelings. But you've got to realize if you don't do something about them, you're going to be the loser. Because people don't wait forever, and good jobs don't wait forever. And also, we don't get younger, Pisces. We get older. Do not waste any more time. It's not to your benefit. So whatever truth you have in your heart, I hope you act on it, because you know it's in your heart. But if you're hiding it, what good is it doing you, and what good is it doing whoever it is you care about? Life is meant to be shared. That's how we got here in the first place. So good luck, Pisces, and make your intentions known. Leave no doubt of how you feel. Don't you worry. If you're around somebody that you've been wanting to say something good to for a long time, they may have been waiting just as long to hear it. So now's your chance. Good luck. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thank you for the new subscribers, and I hope you tell your friends about my show, STARBORN, under the Karen Campbell channel on YouTube. And in the meantime, I will just see you right back here next week for STARBORN. Bye-bye.